And we're back with more fallacies and biases. So this time we're actually finally getting onto something that is a bias and not a logical fallacy. So the reason that biases are just as important as logical fallacies is, see, fallacies are about making sound arguments, but biases kind of let us know some of the pitfalls that we as humans in general can fall into because of just predispositions in our thinking, and to some degree even our own genetics. So we're going to be focusing on the functional fixedness or fixedness, however you prefer to pronounce it, bias, but it does come from kind of a larger umbrella category of the anchoring bias, which kind of breaks down into common source bias, conservatism bias, functional fixedness, and law of the instrument. And the idea behind this is that you end up over relying on something that has been established, proven, whatever, without basically allowing room for modification, updates, and whatnot, right? So, a common source is just to kind of over rely on a single source. And then conservatism is really just the if it ain't broke, don't fix it model. It's just insufficiently revising your position when new evidence comes to light. We'll get to the functional fixedness in a second. And then the law of the instrument is just basically the idea of if something has been traditionally employed in a certain way, you just keep on doing that. Again, it's kind of the if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. You are limiting yourself by the traditional method by which a tool was used. And you can see already how this applies into the martial arts. So the reason I'm picking on the functional fixedness is because it is specifically limiting the use of something to the traditional method. And we see this in the martial arts a ton, as for so many people, they just go, well, this is how my teacher taught me, or this is how our lineage does it, and therefore it's how it is done. And it doesn't matter if something, if a tweak that makes it better comes along, or if the scenario in which it was employed no longer exists unless you have to change. Like, there are so many reasons why we have to update our training methods. And it's not that our systems are bad, it's that our systems were basically based around something other than the scenario that we're dealing with, or we are just different people than the people that came before us, and thus we need to make adjustments for ourselves. And so this idea of limiting use to the traditional method, is a great case is a lot of our specific hand techniques, like let's say in Wing Chun, and a lot of people will say, well, this move is used this way, this move is used that way. For some people, Bong Sao is always 100% a dissipating or deflecting move, completely ignoring how many other use cases there could be, depending on if you're looking at the general concept of what it's trying to achieve. If you're looking at the body shape and structure, there are so many different ways to slice it, right? And if you allow yourself to be stuck on a specific method and say this specific thing is what the thing is, then you end up missing kind of the fuller expression of the potential, the possibilities of your system, right? And that is one of the huge things that combat sports, modern martial arts have over the traditional martial arts, is the fact that they are willing to explore. They don't feel that they are stuck in it was done this way in the past, it must always be done. Like, let's think about how like arrogant by proxy it is to assume that our forebears in the martial arts somehow came up with the perfect universal, method of dealing with all conflict in the past. Like, that seems just highly unlikely, especially considering that, I don't know, weapons technology has evolved since then. And the fact that the preponderance of ground fighting has drastically increased since then. Let's face it, what we're looking at as ground fighting, like in Brazilian jiu-jitsu and catch wrestling, most of that stuff is kind of late 19th, 20th century kind of stuff. Most of that stuff really is coming from the sporting side of the world, where you're not dealing with street assaults, battlefields, whatnot. It's not that people never fought on the ground. It's more the fact that fighting on the ground was a dangerous proposition. But in a sports scenario, in a one-on-one scenario, it may in fact be of use, and we've seen it be of significant use. So when you look at stuff like that, limiting ourselves to the traditional way of doing things is in fact just a bias saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, which is by and large a very limiting philosophy to live by. On the one side, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? It is important to understand where your system comes from, where the art comes from, what problem it was trying to solve. It is very important to understand what the ethos of the thing is, right? But on the other side, I don't believe that any of the people that founded these systems, that we train in today, I don't believe that any of them, believed that their art was above and beyond modification, because we know for a fact that most of them were still modifying stuff by the time they died. I mean, they say that Miyagi didn't finish Goju-Ryu before he died. He didn't finish constructing the curriculum. It was still a work in progress. And it's like when you look at all the lineages under Ip Man, like every single one of them did things differently, and the story generally goes that at different times he taught the system in different ways. And your Roland Tong flat out said that he taught the people according to their abilities and understanding. He didn't teach it necessarily as a system. He was coaching them through learning Kung Fu. And he had a general platform, but was coaching the individual, right? And so like it's almost foolish to think in traditional terms when that's not actually what the tradition is. So, this is one of the biases that we have to really, really be careful of, right? And I've said this before, we don't need to just make arbitrary changes for the sake of change. That is dangerous too. Change at any cost is just as bad as if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but you might need to change the bathwater. So that's all we're looking at here. And we will definitely be coming back with some more biases and some more fallacies in the future. I will talk to you guys later. Good journey. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Share this with your friends or anybody else who might be interested in this kind of content. If you happen to be in the Metro Phoenix area, come in for a class or just stop in to say hi. We'd love to meet you. Definitely check out our socials and our website that has all of our contact information and all of the other relevant information. And more than anything, check out our Substack. Our Substack will be containing all of the links that we use to cite and reference in our videos, as well as exclusive training content that will be available for premium members. Memberships are cheap, but you can also sign up for free, and we do have articles for free, and we will have more free articles available for you. It is a fantastic platform for what we're doing here, and we hope to see you over there. So I will talk to you guys later, and look out for the next one. Good journey.